I'm Dan, this is that Midlife Crisis Motorcyclist, and this is the 2025 Triumph Tiger Sport 660, and the first of hopefully a series of videos in which I work my way up through the Tiger range, all the way up to the Big Daddy 1200, spending a decent amount of time with each of them along the way to try and understand what makes them tick. Every story needs a beginning though, and it seems sensible to start with the 660, given this is the entry to the whole Tiger range, and the bike has been updated for the 2025 model year, along with the Trident 660 on which it is based, and I've reviewed recently on the channel as well. Now, if you'll remember from that, the changes basically centre around the rider electronics and the fact that the bike has now gone to ride-by-wire. That means it's now got things like cruise control, there's an additional sport rider mode, you get a quick shifter, you get cornering, ABS and traction control, and they're all included as standard, which makes the £50 price rise look pretty reasonable. The bike starting at £8,995 all in. That's still not exactly cheap, but then of course the Tiger's USP is the fact that it's got that signature Triumph triple engine at its heart, and a bit more character, you would hope, than the kind of boring parallel twins found in most of its rivals. Now, in terms of where the 660 fits in with the rest of the Tiger range, like the new 800, which I'll be trying out a little further down the line, it has matched 17-inch front and rear wheels, so a little bit less adventure-y than the 900 and 1200 I'll be riding later on, so it'll be interesting to see how those characters compare. Now, of course, there are various other bikes like this in the market you can get instead, but probably the benchmark to compare this bike against is the Yamaha Tracer 7, which more or less matches the Triumph line for line on the spec sheet in terms of price, weight, performance, all that kind of thing. The Yamaha is a little bit cheaper. It's a little bit down on power. It only has 73 horsepower against the 82 horsepower you get on the Triumph, but experience shows that that CP2 engine is an absolute cracker and tends to punch above its weight, so I probably wouldn't consider that a deal breaker. Probably the bigger issue is in terms of this style of bike in general, which, hand on heart, I find it a little bit hard to get fired up about in the way that I do other types of bikes. Sure, I get that they are practical, they're versatile, you can use them for commuting, you can use them for touring, all sorts of things, but I just don't find myself as kind of enthused by them, and it doesn't seem to me the kind of bike you get up at 6 in the morning on a Sunday to go for a ride just for the hell of it. Or maybe it is, I guess we'll find out, won't we? Helping me hopefully understand what the Tiger is all about, Triumph has supplied it with a 3-piece luggage set which you can buy individually or as part of the Sport 660 pack, which includes all 3 pieces, all the mountings, luggage rack, comfort seat and a few other bits and bobs like that. Seems to be a bit of a no-brainer if that's how you're going to use your Tiger. You'll notice that I don't have the top box on the back. Now that is because while I realise they are very useful, I just think they look a bit dorky. Sorry, I know, but there we go. I'm sure it'll come in useful as we go along the way, but for now I'll leave it off. The whole pannier system all clips on and clips off very quickly. It's very easy, and it's on a kind of a neat little quick release fixing, so you don't have all that kind of ugly scaffolding on the side of the bike when you're not using it. I like that. Anyway, enough blah blah blah. How does it ride? Well, let's go and find out. Okay, so that's a quick once-over with this Tiger Sport 660, which I'm going to be running for next month and a few hundred miles, hopefully. What's it actually like to ride? Well, first impressions of getting on it are that it feels actually quite nice and small. But I guess I'm coming straight from that Morbidelli T1002V, and after that anything's going to feel like a 125 basically, but yeah, straight away it feels a really kind of wieldy size, this Tiger Sport. Seat is 835mm I think, so kind of pretty standard, but it's quite a slim bike, so straight away it feels nice and confidence inspiring, which these 660 triples like this and the Trident, they're both kind of very kind of beginner friendly. They're both available in A2 licensed trim as well, so that's part of that. So you can have this, yeah, in A2 licensed trim as well, so that's really good. So it feels straight away comfortable. It's got quite upright, kind of tall rounder, I think is the phrase, isn't it? riding position, but at the same time the fairing feels quite low, so with that 17-inch front wheel, it's definitely a sportier stance than an adventure bike, or perhaps that Suzuki V-Strom 800 RE that I rode previously. So it feels a very kind of balanced riding position with enough weight over the front to feel, yeah, to put the sport into Tiger Sport. So first impressions are of a kind of a friendly bike, an easy bike to get along with, which kind of fits with the whole sort of versatility and kind of one bike to do it all thing that these kind of bikes subscribe to. And this road is part of my commute to Manchester, so it'll likely be doing a few miles on roads like this, and it feels like it'll be a very comfortable place to do that. No heated grips as standard, which is a shame. I mean, it's alright on a day like this, but in the middle of winter that would be definitely an option you'd want to tick. But apart from that, the standard equipment's pretty generous, isn't it, with that cruise control, the quick shifter, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't think I'm wanting for equipment. Suspension is interesting, so it's non-adjustable at the front, although the forks have been upgraded. The internals are apparently a bit better than what came before, so they're 41mm showers. They've got 150mm of travel, about the same at the back, which is a little bit more than the Tracer 7. So if not kind of adventure bikey, then it's certainly got a bit more squish. And in that Triumph way, the damping feels really, really nice straight out of the box. So sure, you might want a bit of adjustability, but yeah, Triumph knows how to set up a bike, particularly for British roads, so no complaints there. At the back you've got remote preload adjust as well, which is a really nice feature on a bike like this, which you may be loading up with luggage or pillion. And I think you've got rebound adjust on the shock at the back as well. So those are nice to haves on a bike of this nature. Definitely welcome features. So with that and the nice quick release luggage, it does feel like a really adaptable bike, perhaps a little bit sportier than I might have credited for all the kind of tall rounder billing and all that kind of thing. Now, the engine is of course a big selling point on all these Triumph Tigers, although the range varies from the 660 to the 800 to the 900 to the 1200, and all the engines are slightly different in their own particular ways. The fact that they're all triples is kind of the Tiger signature, isn't it? It's the common theme running through all the bikes, and it's such a lovely thing to have, because, and it's not just that parallel twins are a little bit characterless, as we like to stereotype, although not necessarily in the case of the Tracer 7, because that CP2 is, as I said in the intro, an absolute cracker of an engine. So, but there's no getting on. I remember the first time I got on a Triumph triple, it was a Trident, and all I'd ridden up to that point were parallel twins, and I got on the Trident. The first time I fired it up, I thought, wow, this engine is fantastic. Just that kind of, that smoothness and the kind of sophistication of having more cylinders buzzing away. And the fact that the 82 horsepower, the peak power, comes in at over 10,000 revs, which is pretty healthy compared with most of those parallel twins, which tend to be kind of torquier and they pull well and all that kind of thing. But there's a zing about this Triumph engine which is really, really pleasant, and it's still pretty torquey. So I think I'm going to fall into the kind of 60% of the time it works all of the time trap here, aren't I? But 90% of the torque I think is available from about 3,000 revs or something like that. So it's not like a 4-cylinder engine of equivalent size where you're just going to have to be revving the nuts off it to do anything. It's kind of, it's literally the best of both worlds between a twin and a 4-cylinder. And it does give the Tiger a really, oh, just listen to that, so smooth. And then as you get higher in the revs, it's got a bit of an anger about it as well. So, and when you combine it with that quick shifter, it works really, really well. I'll come back to suspension because we're on a bit of road that I know well, which is really, really bumpy, and it really shows off the quality of the damping. And here you can feel the bike kind of dropping into the bumps and compressions, but it doesn't get bucked on the way out. This is a big one here. Yeah, just absolutely took it, no bother whatsoever. But coming back to the engine and performance, 82 horsepower it's enough to be getting on with, I think. I think if you're going to be riding 2 up a lot or fully loaded with luggage, you might start feeling the limitations of it, but it's going to be cheaper to insure, especially for younger riders. And it's a nice level of performance to have. It's quick enough. You feel like you're using all the performance, unlike more powerful bikes. But it doesn't exactly feel slow either, so. And the addition of a standard quick shifter, yeah, it's a really nice bonus for this new 25 model year Tiger Sport. So, yeah, I'm going to say that first impressions are that this is a sportier bike than I'd perhaps credited. I thought it was maybe a bit worthy and kind of useful, but on a road like this, it's got the handling and the performance to actually make it fun as well. So I'd be very interested to try that Tracer 7 now. I've not actually ridden one, so particularly now that's been updated for the 25 model year as well. Be interesting to see if you feel that power deficit, or whether the kind of torquiness of the CP2 shines through. But yeah, I think with the extra electronics, the versatility of the luggage, and the charisma of the engine, first impressions of this Tiger Sport 660, pretty favourable. So there we go, some quick first impressions of the Triumph Tiger Sport 660. I'm going to be running for the next little while, a bit of a shakedown ahead of what will be a slightly longer loan than usual, and a chance to really explore its capabilities and all the rest. So what did I think? Well, it impressed me actually. It was more sporty than I'd expected perhaps. You know, I think, as I said at the start, this style of bike isn't perhaps as kind of emotive as others. You know, difficult to feel the enthusiasm that you get with a more stylish bike, but actually out on the road where it matters, it's a lot more fun to ride than I'd credited. I think that's probably due to the smaller wheel size, you know, the 17 front, 17 rear. It has a bit more kind of chuckability and agility than you'd get from other kind of tour rounders or more adventure style bikes, but it still has that kind of versatility and the long suspension travel for soiling up the lumps and bumps you get on a typical British B road. So in that sense, nicely versatile, and I think that'll be equally appealing on the commute, daily commute I do on this road here, as well as on the motorway, longer trips. But I think there's enough in the bike there as well to take the panniers off and using that neat little quick release system, and maybe go out for a bit of a play as well, which I haven't necessarily expected. I think the engines absolutely stand out. It's really, really smooth, and it's got that range of both torque and top end as well, so that's really, really nice. I do wish it was a slightly more interesting colour than this black. This is the only standard colour you get for the 8,995 starting price. There's some slightly funkier greens and things like that, which are another £100 on top, and I think that's probably what I'd go for if I was buying one of these. But then again, as a commuter, subtle and understated is perhaps the way you want to go, so you've got that choice. But yeah, I think I'd fancy a slightly livelier colour than this one. But apart from that, all seems pretty good, and potentially this is all the Tiger you actually need. Is it though? Well, let me know in the comments below and we'll have a chat about it. And in the meantime, if you like the video, please hit like. If you're not subscribed already, please do so. And for now, I'll say goodbye. Thanks for watching and ride safe.